What is going on, guys? This is Jognal back again with another video, and today we're going to be reacting, or I'm going to be reacting to your Dynasty picks for EA College Football 25. I went through all of the comments, so we're going to be reacting to all of them in this video. There's a lot of comments, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. Zach is leading us off saying, I was going to comment saying, why are so many people not saying Nebraska? I think because most people forgot their glory days in the 90s. Already a giant stadium, tons of diehard fans. Once upon a time in the 90s, they were basically like the Georgia, Alabama, and Clemsons. Bringing them back to their former glory like their fans deserve would be fun. And then with 5-star, I think it's Dylan Raiola, because Dylan Gabriel's in Oregon, right? Paving the way. And then he's a Clemson fan. All right. We should just throw out this take because he's wrong because he's a Clemson fan. I'm just kidding, but I do think Nebraska is a good pick, so I want to say that is overall a good option because they deserve that rebuild for sure. Moving on to Dirty Bird, we got Sam Houston. I think they're gonna be a fun team, and he talks about how they were able to get licensed into the game, which I think is just awesome that EA was able to get every single team into the game, because it's not like an NCAA where you just got the NCAA license and you automatically get everything underneath. They actually had to go and like license every school, so it's really cool that they're able to do that. So I think Sam Houston will be a fun rebuild as a new small school, so that's a good one, Dirty Bird. Moving on to Austin, I think Miami should be somewhere as a slept-on school. I think so. I think they're going to be pretty good this year overall. I think they might make the ACC championship, so I think they're going to be a good team. So they could be slept on. And then San Diego State, Missouri, or Indiana. You're going to see a little bit of a repeat, but I do think smart minds think alike. So if you have like a repeat school, I may just like mention it and skip it over just so that we can save time. Because I recorded this once and it was like 40 minutes long, so I'm trying to keep it down. Anyways, San Diego State, a good school. I think get good uniforms, like I mentioned in my video earlier. Good uniforms are in a small conference. I think Mountain West. Are we going to put them in the Big 12, resurrect the Pac-12, keep them in the Mountain West? Interesting for sure. And then Missouri is, they're trying to go for like a playoff push, so that'll be good for sure. Like, will they be able to do it and then maintain the success? And then Indiana, a Big Ten school that really is trying to rebuild. Can they stay relevant in the new Big Ten? So that would be a fun challenge for sure. Moving on to Jeremy. I've been playing a Kent State Dynasty for over a year now. I watched all their games last season, very painful, just so I can learn their players. I cannot wait to win a title with them. This is the dedication that we love to see. Jeremy, you are like goated. You are the GOAT of the day, because this is awesome. Like, you not only were you playing a Dynasty, I'm assuming like NCAA 14, but you like watched the team just to see like who the players would be. I think this is awesome for like just getting to know like college football in general, because like you'll be playing with your rebuild and then you'll see those actual players playing on the game. So I think this will be fun just to be able to learn more about college football over time. Obviously, if you play in a few years in a Dynasty, the players become generic, but it's still fun to be able to see like who the players are and stuff like that. So Jeremy, I think this is awesome, and I wish you best of luck with Kent State bringing them to a title, hopefully sooner than later. Moving on to Gun Metal Gray. As a lifelong Noles fan, it's going to be tough to not run with them first. I agree. I'm going to win a title with FSU like an hour into the game coming out. I'll probably live stream it or something like that. And then Miami and UF are automatic no-goes. Again, I'm right with you. Leaning towards USF. I will say USF is a fun school just to see, like, are you going to put them in the Power 4? Are you going to leave them in the American? How are they going to be able to recruit in, like, the state of Florida? Stuff like that. And then go Noles, as always. Moving on to the Mind of Dro. I'm playing as UAB, Arkansas State, Texas Tech, New Mexico, Ball State, and Western Michigan. UAB I'm most excited for because I aim to dethrone Alabama in their own state. That is definitely going to be a challenge. I wish you the best of luck with that, because that will be really difficult. Then UAB just like delete their old, like their program like a few years ago and then brought it back. So hopefully, they did it before. I won't say delete the program, but I mean they've came up from nothing. So that'll be interesting for sure. And then all your other schools, Arkansas State, they got like the waterfalls, right? The waterfalls over the rocks. So that'll be really cool to see in the game. Texas Tech is like kind of a sleeper in the Big 12. I know they had a lot of hype last year and then they fell off. So I wonder if they'll be able to bounce back. And then New Mexico, Ball State, and Western Michigan, I think are those not basic, but like those are like the textbook teams to rebuild. So I think those will be fun, challenging options. But UAB is a good one as well. Moving into Broncos fan, Florida would be a cool school as they were once a top 5 powerhouse and have fallen so low. Honestly, I've loved their fall off, but I get it. Rebuilding Florida would definitely be a fun challenge for sure. And then Boise State would be a sleeper team now with, I think it's Malachi Nelson at QB. Right, he was a 5-star. So Boise State would be interesting for sure. Like, they might make the playoff this year as like that group of 5 team. And then Colorado State would be fun since they're the rival of Colorado. Yeah, I think these are really good options. I think Boise State is a great option as well. I might pick Boise State as my team, not going to lie, just because I love the Smurf turf. It's awesome. Moving on to Bill Drex. He's just keeping it real. He's got App State, SMU, and Florida. We've already talked about Florida. App State has a really awesome scenic view, being in the Appalachian Mountains. I wonder how is that going to be represented in the game. I'm sure it will be, hopefully, because these things are on the next-gen consoles, so they better cook with these environments, especially with the snow and stuff later in the season. I hope dynamic weather is in the game. We haven't got confirmation on that, but that will be really cool overall. And then SMU, new to the ACC, they got some really cool Dallas uniforms. I love those uniforms. I think they're getting a new stadium soon. I don't know if it's in this game or not, or they're upgrading their stadium. So I think they'll be a fun ACC sleeper team for sure. And how can they recruit out of Texas? Moving on to Young Grillo, I'm gonna use Mississippi State or North Carolina. My question is, how loud are those cowbells gonna be? Are they going to be really, really loud, or are they just going to be they should be really loud. You should be annoyed if you play against Mississippi State. Now, if you're doing a dynasty with them, maybe you just have to be a fan, because that would be kind of annoying over time, but that's kind of the whole point of it. So I think Mississippi State would be fun. It would be interesting. It would definitely be a rebuild for sure. It's almost on the Vanderbilt level, not going to lie, just because they're not even the best in their own states. It's just going to be tough for sure. And then North Carolina, they get some really cool jerseys. That's really all I got to say about North Carolina. They're the middle of the pack ACC school with some really cool jerseys. Next up, we got Red H. He says, I'm going with James Madison. I always say Madison. James Madison. I love underrated teams. I love underrated teams too. And I did James Madison, I think, in NCAA 14. And it was so much fun because they're a school that you can put them in so many different conferences. I think the ACC is the first one because they're in Virginia and they would fit really well. Or maybe you put them in the Big 12. I don't think they would be an SEC school. Maybe even a Big 10 school. I feel like they could fit in so many different conferences. Obviously, I think they're in they're in Conference USA or Sun Belt. They're in one of those small conferences right now. But I love their rise from the FCS to the FBS. And they got some cool uniforms. Having cool uniforms is always a win. So that's my take there. So good pick overall. And then Giannis. Giannis has been a fan of the channel at least since I've been making this college football content. So shout out to you. There's also a few other people in here that have commented. So I appreciate all you guys and just anyone in general who's commented. But Giannis, I've seen you comment quite a bit. Rutgers, Duke, Penn State, FAU, and Northwestern. Rutgers would be fun for the Big Ten for sure. It would be a challenge. How are we going to get people to come to Jersey? I'll let you figure that out. Then you got Duke. Again, Duke's going to be kind of hard because, I don't know, who wants to go to Duke for football? But I will say Duke has been pretty good overall as of recent, so maybe they are on the come up, and I do like their blue color. Blue is my favorite color, so I do think they have some cool, their color scheme is kind of sick. I mean, it's just blue and white, but, it's still pretty clean. Penn State, you got to do the whiteout, win a title, I get it. FAU, yeah, got to get people to come to the retirement home in Boca. I'm just kidding, but yeah, FAU would be interesting. Any Florida school, I think, is a good option, even the small ones. Northwestern, okay. Northwestern with Ryan Field. I think they're playing with the old one, so they're playing with the worst stadium ever. I wish you could play with the practice field, but I don't think that's gonna be an option. But Northwestern, I think, is on the same level as Rutgers, not gonna lie, in terms of being able to win the Big Ten. But good luck, my friend. Next up, we got my boy Aaron, from my buddy from FSU. He says, I'm adding NYU through Team Builder and the getting revenge on Fordham for what they did to us in 1939. This technically should be my Team Builder video, but he did comment it on the Dynasty video, so I'm going to leave it in because Aaron's my boy. Yeah, what happened? What happened in 1939? I need to know what happened. But yeah, that'll be definitely interesting for sure. Does NIU even have a football team? I'm not sure how that works. Then we got Ties TYZ. If I get the names wrong, I apologize. I'm doing Temple. I gotta get the School of Philadelphia successful. I feel that and they're also playing in the Eagles Stadium, right? Because isn't Philadelphia like really compact, and like Temple's like just in like the middle of Philly. So I don't think they can get their own stadium, but that would be cool. Can you pack out that the Eagles Stadium with a bunch of Temple fans? That'll be fun for sure. I think it'll be a really fun challenge because they're kind of just there. They're just kind of school that's just there. They don't really get a lot of hype, so definitely not a popular option. So it would be unique for sure. Moving on to Pride T2D. He's got a few picks. He's got Tennessee, South Carolina, and James Madison, and then his honorable mentions of Louisiana Tech, Arkansas State, Coastal, and UTEP. You guys gave me a lot of options, so I'm trying to go through these really quick so that I don't make this video an hour long. Can't go wrong with Tennessee. I think this might be the popular pick for the win now team. You got Nico as your QB. You got the checkerboard. Got some really cool uniforms. You're in the SEC, obviously, and then also I think it's a way to not play as Alabama or Georgia. If you play as Georgia, you're kind of cheating. So playing as Tennessee at least is not as cheating. And then you got South Carolina, middle of the road SEC school. They got the Darude Sandstorm. I don't know if it's in the game, but if it is, awesome. If not, I'm sure they'll put some generic EDM song with the towels. So they always beat some good team every now and then. They ruin their season. So South Carolina's an interesting pick for sure. Again, got some more James Madison love. And then with Louisiana Tech, Arkansas State, more Arkansas State love. Coastal's been a popular pick. And then UTEP. Oh my gosh, UTEP has been tough. I did a UTEP rebuild in NCAA 14, and it was rough. I cannot imagine in this game. And then Louisiana Tech. Again, how are you going to get people to win and get people to come to Louisiana Tech even though it's not over LSU? Will be interesting for sure. Do you put them in a new conference? So definitely a good option. And this is a great video. This is a great comment. So I can't pronounce your name. So I see FBR in your thing. So I'm gonna go with FBR. Jubs just subbed off the back of this video. Thank you. I am very grateful, and I really appreciate anyone that wants to subscribe. It means a lot to me. Really looking forward to the release of this game. But being from the UK and following the NFL for over 30 years. College football is a little overwhelming to me in a good way. I agree. It's a year-round sport. My real question is, who should I take as my Dynasty team on release? So he's mentioning Nebraska and then going between Kennesaw, UMass, and Kent State. I think overall those are good options. You got Nebraska as a team that you could rebuild pretty quick, and then Kennesaw State, UMass, and Kent State would be long-term rebuilds. But also, let's give our boy, some suggestions. Let's put him in the comments, who we should think should be his Dynasty team. Maybe we should pick something that's fun. So we can make that comment in the video, and so that'll be fun overall. And then Dat Boy Blue is going with my three are Miami, Florida, or Virginia Tech. I would be a coordinator at Michigan and then go my way or work my way to a coaching job at these schools. So I do think that would be a good pick overall because except for Miami and Florida, but Virginia Tech, that's what I was saying. Virginia Tech would be a good pick. I think they don't have Enter Sandman, which is kind of sad, but I don't think they can license everything. Licensing music is actually really expensive, guys. So yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but Virginia Tech does have some really cool uniforms. I do like their stadium, and then also being an OC at Michigan. How are you guys gonna start your dynasties? Are you gonna start as OCs, or are you gonna go straight as a head coach? Let me know in the comments. So thank you, Dat Boy Blue, for that. Next one, we got Cameron Clark. I'm gonna do Indiana or UCLA with them being in the Big Ten and trying to work their way up would be hard, and I'm sure gonna do Michigan just because they're my favorite team, as you should. I'm going to do one with Florida State just to win them a title right away. I think everyone should do that with their favorite team just to get it off, just get the nerves out of the way. You don't have to play at the highest difficulty. Maybe I'll try it, but if I start playing like trash, I'll just reset and just do it until I win. So yeah, that'll be fun. But then Indiana, UCLA. Indiana, again, kind of been a popular pick with the Big Ten. And then UCLA. you're in California, you're in LA. Getting people to come there won't be too difficult because you got LA. It's a popular city, nice weather, all that stuff. Go to the beaches, Hollywood, and you've been beating up on USC every now and then. So I do think they could win, but like, how are they gonna how's it gonna work when you have to play Wisconsin in like December? So that would be interesting for sure, or at least or November or whatever. But yeah, definitely would be fun. And they play in the Rose Bowl, so not a bad pick at all. And then Yamaha. This is interesting. 11 years since I built Texas State into a football powerhouse, and their roster was awful. Excited for this year now that their roster shouldn't be nearly as bad as it once was. Wow. So I don't know when Texas State was added to the FBS, but I'm assuming it was like really new when the game NCAA 14 came out. So yeah, I'm sure they were like the Kent State of this game, or of NCAA 14. So yeah, man, I'm glad that you kind of built them up. I feel like it'll be a way to like a rite of passage to like see how they've grown, and then rebuilding them again wouldn't be as difficult. So good luck to you, man. I think they'll be fun just to kind of like revisit and see like how has things changed in 10 years, like playing the game. Like I think what you should do is like right before the game comes out, you play as Texas State, and then you play it again just to see like how things change. Like how did the uniforms look? How did the stadiums change? Just see how it like once it like how it looks. Like also from like a graphics perspective. Like that'll be really cool overall. Moving on to Skull Cruncher. Now he didn't say like a team, but let's take a minute to think about the philosophy of the teams that we're going to pick. Like, why are we picking these teams, and how it may not just be like easy going if you pick a big school. So he said, something I feel like people haven't considered is picking a powerhouse school can be challenging as well, between your own skills going against other big schools for the best players, and with the transfer portal, it can have a lot of pressure to try to stay competitive. Yeah, that's the thing with the transfer portal. Is like you can't just stack 5 stars on your roster. Like, you can't just have 5 stars like down like on your 4th string, because they'll transfer, unless you like have like the best culture ever, like shout out to Clemson or whatever. But anyways, so yeah, that would be interesting for sure. Like, how do you deal with like roster management, like losing players, getting players, like staying at the top? I don't think it's gonna be like NCAA 14. Like once you start recruiting at the top, you just coast to like 10 straight titles. I think it definitely will be a little bit more difficult down the line. So overall, this is an interesting mechanic. I don't know how it's gonna work, so we'll just have to see how it goes once the game comes out. But I think this is something we need to take into a factor. So Skull Cruncher is making us think. So thank you for that. Next up, we got Burgess, I think. Colorado would be good. Yeah, they got Shador and Travis Hunter, so you can't go wrong with Colorado here. And then Mississippi State, yeah, like we just said. Miami, another good one. And then SMU or Liberty. Liberty is the one that's new here. Yeah, Liberty is they're like acting like a Power 5 school, because like I think like there was like a private school with like a huge alumni base, so I'm sure they have like a lot of funds to be a Power 5 school, but they're just like chilling in like I think they're in the Conference USA or Sunbelt. Like, they're in one of those conferences. And then like, they're always just like dominating. I think they're a school that's just gonna keep going crazy until they decide to like, oh, screw it, we'll go to like a big school. Like I feel like they would just go to like the ACC or something. Like I feel like putting Liberty and put Liberty and James Madison in the ACC. I feel like that would be a perfect one. Or like make a conference that's just like the Carolinas and Virginias, because I feel like there's so many schools in those countries, or not those countries, those states. So I thought it would be interesting for sure. And then I can't pronounce this, we'll just call it G. G says, don't forget FIU has the Miami Vice unis. You're right, those are clean, and it might just make FIU even a more stronger option. So if you were thinking about FIU, just know they got the Vice uniforms. I think they're like the blue and the purple, blue and pink, something like that. Very clean unis, so I think those are good options as well. Moving on to, I see FSU Dwight or D-Wright, but I don't think it's FSU because he doesn't talk about FSU in here. So my goal is to start as a coordinator, whichever overall is lower, most likely offense at OU, and play until the Tulsa job opens up so I can take them to the promised land. So I'm assuming you're a Tulsa fan. Tulsa, we have not seen Tulsa on this list, so that's awesome. I think Tulsa is like a slept-on American school, like American Conference school. And aren't they like isn't Tulsa in Oklahoma? So they're in like the middle of nowhere. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't know, I feel like Oklahoma is just like a really flat state. But yeah, starting off as OU and then taking Tulsa, I think that's a very like easy transition, especially for like recruits and stuff. So I think that'll be fun. I think that would be a good one for sure. Darren just keeping it real. Penn State. I feel that, man. Penn State's nothing wrong with that. White out the stadium, win you a title. Might take a few years if you're bad, or if you're really good, you can win right away. But yeah, I think it's a good one. Next up is Amafield man. Amafield man. I don't really know, but he's asking if I should do, or asking if he should do Old Dominion or Coastal. So I've been seeing Coastal a lot, and I would lean towards Coastal just because they have like the that turf, that teal turf. But Old Dominion has not been mentioned yet, so I'm leaning more Old Dominion. I did comment this, but I'm thinking now Old Dominion might be the pick because it's more unique, and I think they're also Virginia school, so I think that's kind of interesting as well. Orlando is saying my teams would be ASU, Florida, or South Carolina. Again, Florida and South Carolina were mentioned, but Arizona State. Yeah, this is definitely going to be like a rebuild for the Big 12 because like they lost a lot of players. They didn't, I swear, like didn't Arizona State at one time have Jaden Daniels, Johnny Wilson, and Ricky Pearsall? Like they had all of them at the same time, and then obviously they had everyone else. Maybe it wasn't like within the same like exact year, but like they actually had some crazy talent come out of Arizona State and then transferred immediately, became good. Like Ricky Pearsall ended up going first round for Florida, and he was like one of their best players. And then Johnny Wilson was pretty good at Florida State as well. So like seeing all that, and then obviously Jane Daniels won the freaking Heisman. So getting Arizona State back to that with that talent, I think you'd be fine, but you just gotta keep them there. Big D's keeping it real. The Sooners, yeah. I wonder if they have like the stripes for Oklahoma. I wonder how they're gonna do their crowd if that's an option. So that'll be fun. I don't think it would take you too long. Maybe take a few years with recruiting, or you can win right away. SEC is also gonna be tough though, so it'll be a fun. I think it'll be not even a rebuild, just a fun dynasty overall. So Zim for 3 is saying my 3 are UConn, UMass, and Tennessee. So you're really going to be struggling with the first 2. Wondering if it's going to be like UConn and UMass, then go to Tennessee, or you're to do like 3 different ones. UConn and UMass are definitely going to be tough, and then obviously Tennessee will be a little bit easier for sure. So if your goal is to win a title with UConn and UMass, good luck. That's all I can say. And then OTGs is keeping it real, saying Georgia State. I wonder if Georgia State's going to be playing in that old Braves stadium. I wonder how that's going to work, or if it's going to be like something generic. I'm interested to see because they haven't really mentioned it, because obviously they can't show all 134 teams and all the trailers. So I'm interested to see like if they're playing at that old field, because that would be like really unique for sure. And then Savannah is coming in with either Arizona State or Minnesota. Again, we just mentioned Arizona State earlier, but Minnesota, okay, they got some new uniforms. They're pretty good. I think it would be a good like rebuild, good challenge, just because of Big Ten is getting a lot stronger, and they're kind of like a middle tier program. Not gonna lie. Also, they have a cool stadium. Like I think it's like a really compact smaller looking stadium, but it holds a lot of people, and it also snows there, so that'll be fun as well, especially for like late games. My voice just cracked. Late games, especially if you make the playoff and you host a home playoff game. Imagine if it's like snowing. That'd be really cool. Mr. Willie, I apologize that I did not mention UNC, but I will say UNC is a good option, so I will say you cannot go wrong with UNC. Good colors. That's all I really can say. I'm not a UNC fan, but they definitely, I would say you could win with them. So yeah, can't go wrong with UNC. And then Sheriff Harris is just giving us this list. And again, a lot of these schools have been said before, but again, smart minds think alike. One of the unique ones on this list is Cincinnati, and I think a lot of people have kind of been just forgetting about Cincinnati, even though they went to the playoff a few years ago, which is crazy to think Cincinnati made it to the playoff and Florida State did. Well, I'm just not gonna go there. But Cincinnati, it definitely is an interesting school because they had all those great players, got drafted, and then they kind of fell back to mediocrity. So can you bring them back to the top? Can you bring them back to the playoff? So that would be a fun one as well. And then Lucas Mann's keeping it real. Again, UF, just keeping it straight to the point. No comment on this because I'm sure you'll win a title with them, but I don't want to hear it. And then Jay got the juice. He's got his 3. He's got Stanford, Boise, and Pitt. Again, Boise might be my pick, to be honest. Stanford. I think Stanford is fun because they had that run, like 10 years ago where they had the Andrew Luck, and then they went to Christian McCaffrey. They went to a few Rose Bowls. They were really good at a time, and then they kind of fell off. I think like NIL really kind of crushed them because I think Stanford still is like you gotta like be like really smart to get into that school, so they can't really take a bunch of transfers. They did sun Colorado though. Like they did have that crazy comeback. So just for that, I think they would be a fun one. And then Pitt, yeah, they don't play. It's not Heinz Field, but I'm still gonna call it Heinz Field. So playing at the Steelers Stadium is cool. And then also they have some cool uniforms. And then K Money's got his philosophy with how his team's gonna pick. So he has Athlon has every team ranked. I'm gonna start small in my OC job. And whenever I go, I'm going to stay 2 years and then take a job at a small school and build up to the Baylor job when it comes down the line. So I'm assuming you're like going to build up an offense for 2 years and then move to another small school and then keep doing it until Baylor opens up. Other than that, that would be fun because when I did my UTEP rebuild, like as soon as I left, I was like had a crazy recruiting class and then I left and then they sucked immediately. But 3 years later, they were like a top 10 team because all of those players I recruited started, doing really well. So that would be interesting to see, like building up small schools and then leaving and seeing if they like fall off or keep their success. So that'll be a fun way to test as well. And then yeah, Baylor, can't go wrong with Baylor. They did get some new uniforms and they kind of look like Green Bay, but not just it is what it is. And then Jim Buffett has got a very interesting take here, saying, imagining a scenario where the federal government cuts down on insider trading in politics, levies a flat tax, and decides that Navy and other service academies get unlimited NIL budget as a result. How's that for trickle-down economics? That is how our taxpayer money should be spent, guys. I just can't imagine like how that would go, like if that was in real life. The type of ads we would see for like recruiting, like we know you see like Army like do like sponsor esports teams and stuff because like they want to get people to enlist. Imagine if they were like they just built super teams. I'm like, yeah, look at us, we're the best because we bought everything. That would be very interesting for sure. But I do think the military academies would be fun rebuilds. I think there might be a cap, but it would be fun overall. And then Dutch is again keeping it straight. I only go rebuilds or startups. So he's doing the Kennesaw State, Sam Houston, and Kent State. I feel that. Can't go wrong with those. Those are classics for rebuilds for sure. And then our last comment of the day. Keep me under 30 minutes. Whew, it's been taking a while. Thinking of going with Charlotte, App State, or UConn. I think Charlotte is the odd one out here that we haven't seen yet. I think Charlotte would be a fun one. I think Charlotte would be cool because they joined the FBS not too long ago. It would be it would be difficult, I would say. And then they're in the Carolinas, so if you want to make your Carolina Virginia conference, you can do that. I feel like I have to do that now. And then again, UConn, App State, those are good schools as well. All right, that's all I got. My voice is about to go out because I'd done this like 3 times and I didn't record the first time. So thank you guys so much for commenting. I'm gonna try to make this for the next for the team builder video soon. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do like these videos, be sure to hit the like button down below. I also did turn on memberships for this channel. This is just a way if you just like want to support me or not. Like I'm just mentioning at the end because you don't have to. It's just a way to. It's just a thing I turned on. I work a full-time job, so like this doesn't like support me really in any way. I just love making videos and just like love like doing things for the community that we're building. So this would help fund like giveaways and stuff, just so that I can give back to you guys, but you don't have to do it. But I just wanted to mention it in passing so that you guys want to support me, you can, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Other than that, this has been Jagnol, and I will see you guys next time.